Welcome to the Vault Excel. As most of you know who have been following the content pertaining to the West trial, Trezell and Jacqueline West have been found guilty on a few counts pertaining to the children. One child was basically omitted in, I guess, what you would say, second-degree murder. I'm a bit perturbed at that. Happy, yes, that they were found guilty on most of the counts, but it still shows a disregard for the other child as if he didn't exist. And it leads to the ultimate and obvious question. If you believe that they murdered one child, then where do you think the other one is? I'll wait. Where is the other child? Oh, and by the way, where are both other children? Did the older child assist in the deaths of the toddlers? It is from my understanding, having graduated from the 12th grade and went to college a few years, when reading the affidavit, I could have sworn I read that somebody aided somebody in killing the kids. And if I'm wrong, that is fine. I stand corrected. So if I read the affidavit correctly, then why was no mention of this during trial? The obvious reason that the defense would not mention the children aiding in the deaths of the kids, that would imply that their clients are guilty and they are saying that they're innocent. So that's common sense that they would not imply that the children or child aided in the deaths of the kids, because in order to be coerced by your parents, I would have to say my clients aided the children, coerced the children, helped the children, forced the children to murder their own siblings. So then that goes to the state. You drew up the affidavit, and if that is what we read, unless we read it incorrectly, you did not ask or imply during testimony of this trial that the older child or children aided in the deaths of the children. You just told us that one of the child saw a dead child, touched a dead child or dying child, saw a child discolored. So then we have to ask the question that Brittany posed to me today. If you say I saw the color fading, then that means the child was possibly what? Still alive? Because sometimes we use inappropriate wordings when we speak, depending on our literacy level and the mood that we are in. So let's ask that question. Was the older child there, present in the room at the time of death? And he lied on the witness stand, coerced by the state to omit that he was a culprit or the culprit in the death of child 1 and or child 2. Did he see his parents dispose of the body, knows where the body is disposed? Because I said this earlier in my commentary that something was odd to me about his conversation with the parents, because I said during a live stream, the conversation doesn't sound right. When did we allow children to orchestrate our movements? Yes, mommy and daddy, don't call the police. I want us to stay together. That doesn't sound right. When did parents ask their children what to do about a dead kid? Stay woke. Kind of went like this. Baby beat up by children, and parents say, okay, he's dead. don't tell anybody. Because if you do, they'll come get you and take you away from us. And then you will become a foster child, foster children, as these kids were. And mommy and daddy will go to jail for a very, very long time. Now, you don't want that to happen now, do you, Adrian? Children, no, daddy. No, mommy. I won't tell anybody. Were we misled during this trial? Because if we are to believe in the affidavit that children were coerced into killing the children, a child, or a child killed the children, then that means the state did not tell the truth of who did what in that house or apartments, Bakersfield and Cow City. And as I said before, the conversation allegedly between Jacqueline, Giselle, and this Adrian boy or whomever doesn't sound right. So that means this was an orchestrated testimony. And the defense knew not to badger the witness because they would be implicating their own clients as murderers. You are now listening to the Vault XL. I will play you information pertaining to the guilty judgment of these two. ABC 23 News is the source.
Looking over hours of testimony, more than 100 exhibits of evidence, and coming to a guilty verdict on counts 1 through 3 for second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, and child cruelty pertaining to Orrin, and counts 6 through 7 for child cruelty pertaining to Orson and false reporting of an emergency. On the conspiracy and murder charge pertaining to Orson, the jury was deadlocked.
Is there anything further, any clarification of the law, further argument from counsel, anything that any juror believes would be of assistance in regard to reaching a verdict as to those two counts? Was there number one? No.
Orrin and Orson were reported missing on December 21st, 2020. The prosecution in the trial arguing that the couple reported the boys missing at the time to cover up that they had been dead for months. The defense arguing that authorities overlooked details and only looked at Trezell and Jacqueline as suspects. Experts following the trial say that this case was no easy challenge for either side or the jurors.
Any witness is subject to being led down a road for the police officers to steer them in a certain direction. Kids are more likely to be steered, we would think in general, than adults would be. But the prosecutor obviously was able to handle those questions.
As the trial comes to an end, family and community members say a weight has been lifted.
I'll finally get to close my eyes and know that justice has been served.
But the story doesn't end there, because the question, where are the boys, still remains.
We still gotta keep their faces out there no matter what.
And for those involved, they won't give up until they have an answer.
Tell us where the bodies are now. Give the bio parents and the foster mom and everybody else closure.
And the couple is facing up to life in prison for the second-degree murder as well as the child cruelty charges. They're scheduled to be sentenced on July 13th at 8:30 a.m. And as we just heard, the community not done with this case yet. It's been an emotional journey for them. We'll send things over to 23 ABC's Brianna Willis with a look at the reaction to today's verdict.
Yeah, Veronica, today's verdict has been a long time coming for family members and people in the community who have been following this case since the beginning. Many of them sitting through the entire trial, hoping for the verdict read today. But they say the work does not stop here.
Today was a day that we all been waiting for, and to get 5 guilty counts says a lot.
While Trezell and Jacqueline West were not found guilty on every count, community supporters say the counts they do face are enough.
It's been far too long for the biological family to not know what happened, what didn't happen, and where the babies are. And I think today was a perfect day for them to find these people guilty.
Laura Vasquez and Selena Quar have followed this trial as they are adoptive parents themselves.
Devastating. It was nerve-wracking. It was almost like anxiety, waiting to hear the evidence that they had against these people.
They say sitting through the testimony of the West children really tugged at their heartstrings.
Children, when it came to them testifying, it was so sad, but at the same time, we were able to see their weight difference from them being with their biological parents to them being in protective custody and in foster care, however their situation is working.
Supporter Jennifer Nobles agrees and says now those children will likely remember this forever.
I feel sad still, because there's other innocent children out there that they've left, from doing something so horrible like this.
And biological family member Rosanna Wills says she feels for the children, but says she's glad the West parents will have to pay for what they did.
It's sad because they put their own kids in this position to where they were trying to hide this from the beginning so they wouldn't be in this position.
As for Orrin and Orson, also known as Classic and Sincere Pettis,
somebody knows where these babies' bodies is.
Yeah.
Somebody knows.
Will's adding the search will continue.
Keep their faces out there, Classic and Sincere. We love you and we will not stop till we bring you home, baby.
Supporters say they will continue to gather on the 21st of every month until the boys' bodies are found. Coming up at 6, we have more from community members about how today left them with bittersweet emotions. Live in downtown Bakersfield, Brianna Willis, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
Brianna, thanks so much. Now, this trial of the case of the West Boys captivated Kern County for more than 2 years. We have been following every development since it began. I took a look back at this case and what led up to the jury reaching its verdict.
We're going through it. It's difficult.
It all started just before Christmas when both Orrin and Orson West were reported missing on December 21st of 2021 by their adoptive parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West. According to them, the boys were playing with chalk in the backyard of their California City home when they suddenly disappeared.
I went up to that gate, I'm throwing wood, bringing it inside the house. My wife's inside. She was actually wrapping gifts, so we thought it was a good idea that our youngest to go outside and play with chalk on the back patio. I realized that I left the gate open and I panicked.
Soon a massive search began with the FBI assisting the California City Police Department and the Kern County Sheriff's Office. The biological mother of the boys, Ryan Dean, became vocal following the boys' disappearance.
I did not like them. I could tell when we visit. I could tell when my kids like someone or when they don't like someone.
However, at the time, there was no evidence or anything proving the Wests had committed any crime. The family of the boys coming together to help in the search. Several local businesses helping put together a reward for anyone who could provide clues on where the boys may be. That reward over time climbing to more than $120,000.
There's $125,000 on the line. Nobody's claimed it. Nobody spoke up. There's so many tips. Nothing.
The community also began holding monthly vigils asking for justice for the boys.
They will be found.
Then in March of 2022, after taking over the case, Bakersfield police arrested Trezell.
Sorry about that intermission. Going back in time, everybody. Well, they jumped off of that. Hold on. 1 second. Thank you all for joining me. We'll now drop the link. You have commentary pertaining to the verdict. And if you believe this child or any other child assisted in the murder or murders of the children. Trying to find what I was playing. I don't know. Well, I don't think it went off. Hold on 1 second.
My wife's inside. She was actually wrapping gifts, so we thought it was a good idea that our youngest to go outside and play with chalk on the back patio. I realized that I left the gate open and I panicked.
Soon a massive search began with the FBI assisting the California City Police Department and the Kern County Sheriff's Office. The biological mother of the boys, Ryan Dean, became vocal following the boys' disappearance.
I did not like them. I could tell when we visit. I could tell when my kids like someone or when they.
Proving the West
you didn't fight to get your kids back.
The family of the boys coming together to help in the search. Several local businesses helping put together a reward for anyone who could provide clues on where the boys may be. That reward over time climbing to more than $120,000.
There's $125,000 on the line. Nobody's claimed it. Nobody spoke up. There are so many tips. Nothing.
The community also began holding monthly vigils asking for justice for the boys.
They will be found.
Then in March of 2022, after taking over the case, Bakersfield police arrested Trezevia.
Okay, they cut that audio short. Oh, mercy. Guilty on 5 counts. How do you feel about the verdict? The look on their faces is priceless. I want you all to go back and review their look in court, how they looked in court. Trezell staring, numb, the wife numb. She showed no emotion in the few captions they showed of her from the beginning until the end. And the look on Trezell's face, I mean, he looked defeated when they were reading the verdict. You could tell when he heard the first guilty verdict, he knew, oh, this ain't good. But you put yourself in that situation, as was stated in his commentary. You put yourself in a situation and you put your children in the state's care. And now your children have to live in the state's care until somebody adopts them. If they ever get adopted, they may actually stay in the care from place to place until the age of 18, 21. And that's a sad place to be. Whether you are in a good home today and then you go to another home tomorrow. It's not a place for any child to be going into state's care because you don't know what you're going into. You left a bad place. That's the purpose of removing a child from his or her parent, guardian, and now you're going into the unknown, sometimes the abyss, which that's where these children ended up, the abyss. You hear the Bible mother speaking of knowing what that her children, if they were happy or not with someone. Well, you know, we can still go back to the original situation of, well, they didn't have to be in the situation had you done right by your children. They wouldn't have to know what it's like to be around people that they didn't like. You didn't have them long enough, really, from my understanding. So you can only speak of the foster families you saw the children inside of their homes, which was what? The black lady that finally decided to speak. I found that interesting. All this time, you never heard anything from this foster mother. Now that the verdict is read, you give commentary 2 years later. Why? Why not be vocal while the children were missing? See, there are so many things to this story that is bothersome. And it is the obvious. Child abuse, child neglect, no responsibility for the abuse and neglect. Baby after baby after baby going into the state's care and being taken by fathers. No mentioning of older children. No care for these children. Nobody fighting for these children. If they did, they didn't get the custody. Why not? Going from foster care house. What happened with this lady? We asked that question 2 years ago. Well, what happened at this house? There were rumors that something was going on in her house. If this is the same lady who was removed, the children were removed from her house and then end up going to the West House as foster children. So what happened at this foster care house to where she couldn't keep the children? Rumors that she and Rondine were too buddy. So somebody called. Well, who would that somebody be? Or is it that a social worker noticed that they were buddy? I don't know, because I try not to deal with rumors, but it's too much. And it's the very reason these children are no longer here. Because too much was going on in their itty-bitty lives that they didn't ask for. They didn't ask to come here. They didn't ask to be a part of people's shenanigans and wayward ways and ideas and living situations. And that's what people don't seem to understand about children. I watched a video last night where a Caucasian lady has all these children in her house. The police shows up because people were calling and complaining on her. She's got all this filth and debris in the front of the house, and they knock on the door. They talk to her. Then the daddy ends up showing up from work, and it's just a bad situation. And when you watch this video and listen to it, I believe I posted it to my community board, it's hideous. And she's whining and moaning about her life, and she's trying to do her best. But as one cop said, it ain't enough. And I ain't giving you no pass. And she had to blame everybody. The uncle, he trashed the house, and he used to live here, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is, he ain't there now. So what's the excuse to keep your house clean? What does the uncle have to do with your baby walking around with a saggy diaper? Boo-boo on the wall? It doesn't matter. Drug paraphernalia open where they can see it. Drug paraphernalia in your glove box when he asks you to go in there to get your ID. You're showing you don't give a you-know-what. And you're steady saying, I'm trying. And at one moment, I could have almost had empathy. And that's when I knew I was losing my damn mind. Because, the queen don't even rock like that. I'm trying. Well, it's not enough. Then it said something, she had the nerve to say something about the state had an open case on her. And she had just gave birth to a baby, mind you. Baby's in the window, hollering and screaming, thirsty, hungry, dirty diapers, all this shenanigans is going on while somebody's filming this. Cop, I guess, the camera on the cop. And you're saying to yourself, what the hell is going on? And who gave these people a pass? Because with all that filth and debris in front of the yard, did they own the house? Because if they own the house, you're just going to be complaining to the city. But if they rented the house, then the person who owns the house should be coming through checking their property to see, hey, you can't have this filth and stuff outside. And then the filth outside should lead you to common sense. It's probably filthy on the inside. And when they got on the inside, of course, the cops are sitting there saying it on the camera. It's roach infested in here, ma'am. How do you feel this is a safe environment? Long story short story long. They remove the children. She's hollering and screaming. They take both of the parents to jail because they are endangering the lives of the children. And then naturally, the main reason for the arrest was the drug paraphernalia. Just had a baby. And there's drug paraphernalia. So she tried to say, oh, it's his. And they don't care about that. Open case already, allegedly. So I told myself, how could you have an open case and have the children still there? You mean to tell me the worker just left there days ago and saw the filth on the front porch and the front yard and the roaches crawling around and she thought it was okay for you to still keep your kids? Lady, do you think I'm high? See, this is what's wrong with the world. Passes. There's always somebody that knows the truth. People know that these people are unfit when they have kids. They know they're leaving them with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. They know they're drinking and getting high and smoking and chiefing and popping pills and ecstasy and fentanyl. And yet they don't call DHS. They don't call the police. But then they want to go to the news when something pop off. Well, it's too damn late. And I'm getting kind of tired of you all running to the news with your $2 ass stories. I don't give a damn about what you have to say 15 fucking days later. 2 years later. Yeah, I saw them looking out the window. They looked like they wanted to come out to play. Well, guess what? They dead now. How about that? Yeah, they had trash in the yard. Yeah, it was roach infested. They had bed bugs. But you didn't call nobody. Going to school malnourished. Well, that's the school's job to say, gotta call mom and dad and ask why your child looks frail. Because we call them the state, the police, and the mom and daddy. All in one phone call. And you don't have to give your name. You do not have to give your name. Stop walking around here acting like it ain't your problem. Yeah, we know they ain't your children. You got your own damn problems. But don't be a party to destruction. Checkmate. You see, these kids had a start, and had somebody cared then, we wouldn't be talking about them now. Everybody's guilty. Everybody is guilty. Just like the little kid down in Florida. Perfect example. You wait good till the little girl go missing. The police go finds her body in Alabama from Florida, discarded in the woods by her stinking ass mama. And you wait good to run to the news when they find her dead and say, yeah, she used to run around all the time playing by herself, and her mama was at work, and I had to take her back to the apartment. Do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself? I'm not getting ready to take her back no damn where. I'm calling the damn police. And as you heard with the mess with the Sheena Kyle, I ain't even going to call the damn landlord because I don't know how stupid they're going to act. So I'm calling the law. When it comes to children being abused, neglected, left alone, not fed, you don't call nobody but the damn law because it is his or her duty to call social services. Checkmate. I'm not getting ready to go look for nobody grandmama. I'm not going to go look for nobody auntie. I'm not getting ready to run around a fucking apartment complex trying to get fucking telephone numbers and all that. I'm calling the damn police. Will you come pick up this baby? Will you please come pick up this baby? I'm not walking a child back to an empty apartment. What fool does that? Hell yeah, I'm hot butter today. Because these stories are endless. Every damn day, somebody beating a baby, drowning a baby, choking a baby, throwing a baby up against the wall, feeding the baby poison, or grinding the food up in the bottle, or molesting a baby, sexually assaulting a baby. Every damn day it's a story, and you all want to go run to the damn news when the baby dead to give your fucking version of what you saw at the time. Well, you a day late, dollar short. Don't nobody care. It's a difference when grown people fight each other. They want to stay together. That's their damn business. Yeah, oh, I see him. He beats her up all the time. Well, you can't make her leave. That's their personal problem. That's two grown folks' business. But when it comes to children, I ain't getting ready to go run to the news when the child dead. What am I going to go to the news and tell them, I saw the child outside in a pamper with boo-boo in it, and nobody was watching him or her. And I saw this go on day for day. What am I going to tell the news that for? What the hell difference does it make at that damn point? In the affidavit pertaining to these kids, we got the understanding that Jacqueline Trezell coerced the children in the deaths of the children. So why was that not mentioned during trial? We understand why the defense would ask that question, because that would imply that his clients are guilty and they were claiming that they are innocent. So the state, we're going to ask you, did you omit that out? Testimony. Because you did not want to, I don't know, because I'm confused. He's your star witness, so you leave it out. Because you didn't want to try him for murder as a 10-year-old. What are we saying? Did the boy lie on the witness stand? Does he know more about what happened to the children in Bakersfield and Cal City? Was he a part of the child's death that the parents got the guilty verdict on? Because Brittany and I were speaking briefly today, and somebody who commented on my channel said something to this effect that, I thought one of the children was involved. And then it rang a bell in my head, like, wait a minute. I said that this week. Why was this never mentioned? Because I didn't listen to the audios through the day because I'm busy. I didn't have time to sit and listen to any audio. So I need somebody to bring me a receipt that it was never mentioned during trial, him aiding in the deaths of his own siblings. Because what you have to do is go back to testimony. I saw vomit, color fading from his face. I touched him, he was cold. Did he share a room with the dead child in Bakersfield? How many bedrooms did they have? Did they have the triple bunk beds then? Stay woke. Did he share a room with the dead child? And that's why he noticed the child dead, because he got up and saw the vomit, touched him, saw the fading color or faded color. Which was it? He was already dead or he was dying. Because the affidavit alludes to the fact the parents made them beat the kids or hurt the kids. So now you got to ask, why would the state leave that out? Why would the state leave that out? Or we misinterpreted the information. Because as Brittany said, if you're going to tell one part, you might as well tell it all. So did the state tell the little boy, don't tell them that you hurt the little boy or boys. Just tell them you saw the child looking dead and you never saw him again. And then when you got to Cal City, you didn't see the second child. Because it's funny when he says, I heard something like a soap dish fall, and then I never saw him again. Do you believe that? Do you believe what he said in court? Because like I said, I would not say a child is a liar, but something's missing from the story, and that's the information from the affidavit. And I now feel there's a problem with this. So now you have to say to yourself, if the little boy didn't tell the whole truth in court, that he aided in the deaths of the kids or the other kids participated in the deaths of the children or helped discard the children, then that means that's the reason why they were only found guilty on the 5 counts. If you had told the whole truth. Oh yeah, I helped kill them kids. My mom and daddy made us beat them up. Hurt them, beat them, slap them, whatever. And then they took them out and discarded them in Bakersfield. And then they did the same thing to the other one in Cal City. And they dumped him somewhere. I don't know where they dumped him, but I know they took him out. Because like I said, the conversation allegedly testified in court don't make any sense. A child saying to his own parent, oh, mommy, daddy, don't call 911 because then they'll take us away from you. That don't even make no sense. A child saying that. No, that's something the parent said to the child. And I'm not saying this child is not a crafty, savvy, smart kid. What I'm saying, the conversation sounds backwards. As I said before, let's do a little role playing. Help us clean this up. You better not tell anybody, because if you tell anybody, we'll go to jail, and you may go to jail and go to juvie hall, and then they'll come take all of you and separate you and put you in a foster home like these kids came from a foster home. And you wouldn't want that to happen now, would you, Adrian? No, Daddy, I wouldn't. Okay, well, you better keep your mouth closed. I think it went kind of like that. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $DeGanji 129 Cash App. All students in chat are welcome during the live stream. The link is in the chat. If you would like to hit the link to join the panel, to give your commentary pertaining to the verdict, and if indeed this child, older boy child, and other children in that household aided in the deaths of the children, and why was that not the state's claim in court? Is there more to the story that was left out by the state? Thank you for joining me. Brittany is my first guest. Hello, Brittany. Hi, honey.
So I'm wondering what you just said about help me clean this up. I'm wondering if that may be part of the aiding that we read in the affidavit. Because any sort of, cleaning up, or I don't want to say helping dispose, but cleaning up, I would think that would be considered aiding. I can't find the affidavit. It's making me so bad.
That's okay.
But yeah, it's just like you said earlier, if the defense would have, questioned the child on that as well, that would have admitted guilt on Trezell and Jacqueline. Yep. So it kind of makes sense that wouldn't be brought up. I'd love to read it again just to make sure something wasn't misunderstood. But I could see how, helping clean up and something. Maybe if it was just as simple as pull the sheets off the bed, from where he had gotten sick, would be considered aiding.
Right. And you're asking him if indeed you told him, which we know you did it, and I think they're switching around what actually happened. When you asked him, when you told the child, don't say anything, whether he touched anything or not, actually hurt the children or not, it's coercion.
Yeah.
Because you're an adult figure. And I think that's what's used in the affidavit. Adult, how I'm trying to word it. Adult figure. You understand where I'm going?
Right.
Authoritative figure. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
The children are going to do whatever you say. So whether they actually participated in the deaths, if you told them to move something, don't say something, that's coercion.
Right. And that's a lot to put on a child. I mean, because God.
And that's why this is bad, because we don't really know what the child did and didn't do. And he's also a product of Jacqueline and Trezell. He has two bloodlines. So he is a product of two demon seeds. We have to be very leery of this child's disposition in life.
Right.
Because you are born now of two murderers. And she already testified the children didn't like the children, the babies. Then you got this commentary from Ron Dean saying, I could tell the kids didn't like them. I could tell. That's why you should have been around for your damn children.
Yeah, and that's possibly true. I mean, you can tell. I mean, I'm not saying that part's a lie on her part, because, you can tell when kids don't particularly like.
Yeah, but see, that's the whole point. They're kids. They don't have no option.
Right.
That should have been an incentive for you to get your shit together, to get your kids back. If you visiting the kids and you see they don't appear happy, you say they look like they were underweight, you should have been like, I got to get my kids. I got to do what I got to do to get my kids back.
Right.
So really, you're telling on yourself when you even say some shit like that on the news. I can tell this. I can tell this. Well, then why didn't you get your kids back?
Yeah, not only underweight, they look unhappy. It's really a sad situation.
It is. It's jacked up. Because they're not the only kids in foster care and adoptive situations with bad people. They've left one bad situation to go to another. It's got to stop. This is why I said it starts in the womb. Stop producing these fucking kids.
And, it's interesting for them to make. I know it was Trezell's lawyer that made a few statements about how he, as a Black man, wanted to be able to help little Black children that were in the system. And look at you now. Your children of yourself are in the same system.
Karma came home.
Yes, for acts that you did.
Yeah, you didn't want those kids. You knew you didn't want those kids.
Yeah, no, I'll never believe that was,
Just like looking at the pictures in the article, they're showing them like they were a happy family and taking photographs together. It's It's BS looking at photographs. I could take a photograph tonight and I could be in a pissy mood in an hour.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm
pictures.
saying?
I think there can be very deceiving, just like people's Facebook posts and things like that.
Yeah,
You
but that's
can
not how
see.
they're feeling all the time because they're posing and happy at that moment and you're taking a selfie. It doesn't mean that you didn't feel like jumping off a bridge 2 hours beforehand or you wanted to jump off a bridge 2 hours later.
Right. I think it's interesting they didn't have any pictures. I mean, they said that they had very few pictures, maybe one or something like that.
They have pictures because they got rid of them. That's what people do when they dispose of you. It's no different than when you murder a person, such as a man murdering his wife, right? What is the first thing he does? He starts throwing away her things. He starts giving away her things. That's the first thing a murderer does. They get rid of you because they didn't want you around. So you think I want to walk around looking at your lipstick and your dresses and your shoes? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. It's no different than when you get mad at people and you fall out with them. What's the first thing you do? You go get rid of all their pictures. Unless you're some psycho trying to hold on to somebody. You understand? But when you're done with people or you had an altercation, let's say you posted pictures with people on your Facebook page, IG, you fall out with them. First thing you think of, let me take them damn pictures down. I don't need them on my damn Facebook page and timeline. I know because I've done it.
I don't know. It's a sick situation.
They got rid of the kids, so they had no need to have their things. They had no need to have their photographs, and that's where they made the mistake. You don't kill somebody and then erase their pictures. That is stupid. It's already stupid what you did to the child. But then you erase the photographs. You're not thinking that you're going to get caught, which I don't know why they didn't think they were going to get caught. You just think because what? We're loners. We sit to ourselves. Nobody ever visits us. We don't visit nobody. Nobody's going to come and inquire about the kids. Well, somebody was inquiring.
Yeah, and I think that, with it being right before Christmas, there could be, I don't know what their situation was with their family as far as get-togethers and things, but I mean, I know, let's just say my situation at Christmas time, Lord, we have both sides of the family we have to go visit, whether it's a dinner, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. So you're going to show up, and I would assume that people would want to know, where are these kids? And saying they're with their bio family would make no sense, being that you have legally adopted them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess she could tell one family the kids are with her parents or his parents or whatever, but which seems that may be what they did. But
well, you brought up some interesting information during the trial about the bio father not being the father of both boys.
Yeah, that's what he said on the stand, that he thought that he was. Now I can't say which one is and which one isn't because I didn't get that part, but he said until DNA tests were done, he was under the impression that both children were his.
Imagine that. Well, I'd heard rumors 2 years ago that he was the children had different fathers. This is before I even knew what he looked like. I didn't know what he looked like until the following fall. When he decided to speak to the news, which I thought that was a bit late. And that's the thing about this story. Everybody just in and out of the story, like it's a dress rehearsal. I'll just pop up out the box when I feel like it and give my little 2 cents, and I'll pop back out. And that's why you knew that the children didn't have a chance, just from the behavior of the bio family and the popping in and the popping out and people popping up that didn't even really know that the children existed or had any dealings with them. It's not normal behavior. That's why the children didn't have a chance, because of all this in and out, in and out, in and out. The kids missing, and you got all these random, strange people popping up speaking on behalf of the children when it should have been the bio mother and father speaking all the way through the storyline up until the verdict.
And even at the verdict, you did not hear them speak. Now, I'm sure they will speak in a paid interview in a few weeks.
I don't want to hear nothing that heifer has to say.
I'm sure I would have thought that after, the hearing yesterday, that would have been a great time for them to speak. But like I said, I'm sure they will speak in a paid interview in a few weeks.
Wow, a paid interview. Who gonna pay you, the Daily Mail?
Well,
Ain't nobody gonna pay the Daily Mail or the Sun. Somebody like that, they pay for stories. TMZ, they pay for stories.
I could see that.
But the reputable news don't pay for stories.
Right. But I don't know. I mean, maybe they were too emotional. I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to dwell on that. I just was repeating what you had said, which, I think is interesting. So if there are two different fathers of the children, where's the other father, and why hasn't he spoken? And will he speak, whoever the mystery father is? And how about we get clarification on Mr. Pettis? Which child is Mr. Pettis' child? Since everybody want to sue the state, how you going to sue the state when you're not even telling the truth about the damn baby daddies? Good God. See, you see how crazy this nonsense is?
Right. Does she know who it is?
I don't know. Somebody said it was that it's I don't know if it's true or not, but it was Mr. Pettis. There was two cousins that were the baby daddies of the two small boys.
Yeah, and I don't know.
And that's even worse now that we know he has told the truth that he's only the father of one child. Then you all are set up here trying to sue the state for money. It's only a matter of time the other daddy will pop up and say, well, I got to get my cut because I'm the real daddy of the other child. Godly. Ratchet, man. That's why I always shook my head when I started hearing things and people started getting in my inbox and the source came to me and somebody else reached out to me to telling me things about this woman and her lifestyle and the kids. I said, this is the very reason why they're missing in the state's care, because she never gave a damn about her children. And people just don't want to accept that you are the start of the problem. We understand these people kill these kids, but the point is they had a start, and usually bad things happen with children going in foster care. A lot of children just don't have a great story to tell once they enter foster care, because in the end, it doesn't matter that somebody gave them the green light to foster the children. You still don't know them. So you judge the foster parents. Well, you forget they came from a biological person first to get in foster care. So if the fucking biological parents don't give a fuck about them and abuse them and break their legs and leave them with every Tom, Dick, and Harry, you think because they went to a foster care and they got a green light and got approved that they wouldn't hurt them? Why not? They're strangers. They're strangers. Yeah. That's why I tell people you can't blame the state, because they came from people who didn't want them and mistreated them. So you think because they handed them over to a stranger, the stranger's supposed to do a better job than their own damn parents? Well, what's the difference?
No, they're definitely not supposed to murder them, but
there's no difference.
No, I mean, I don't
know the parents. Listen, you don't know the parents and you don't know the fucking foster family. You don't know the adoptive family. They just put some shit on paper. You go look at their bank statement. You go see if they got a criminal record. You talk to their neighbors. You talk to their job and employers, things like that. They give you the green light, and then you go ahead and give them foster care ship and or adoption ship. But that don't mean they're going to do right by the child.
Right. And with you so many kids being in the system, it's probably not that hard to foster a child.
Yes, because they want to get those kids somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And, it's hard for, if you are a foster parent to take more than one. So, when there's people that are, willing to take brothers and sisters and things like that, that's probably, that's definitely helpful to the system because, they say they try to keep the families together.
Yeah. And that's what that spokesperson said a year or 2 years ago. She says, we're not trying to take anyone's child. We're not trying to keep anyone's child from them. We're trying to do what's right for the child. If we think that you're in good standing and you're working to get your child back, we have no problem with giving you your child back. We don't want your child, but we're not going to just give you your child back because you say you want them back. We want to see that you're working towards doing what you need to do to get them back and that your children are going to be safe if we return them.
Yeah, I felt like that was kind of in response to Ryan saying, I didn't even know they were going to be adopted type thing,
I don't believe that. You knew you weren't doing what you needed to do. I think back to her interview with Politan, and when she said, oh, yeah, there was one class I didn't go to, but I know why I didn't go to that. Well, you didn't elaborate with him. You didn't elaborate with him because you didn't really know what he knew about you. You don't know what records he was able to get, which we already know all those records are private. So she had to throw that out there. Oh, there was this one class I didn't go to, but I know why I didn't go to that. You want us to believe you lost your children because of one class you didn't go to?
I don't believe that.
Of course not.
And at the end of the day, I mean, what could be more important than getting your kid back, regardless of the reason why you think you may not need to take this class? If that's what's needed to get your kids back,
then that's what they asked you to do.
Then that's what you do.
Exactly. So you're talking about going from foster care to foster care, still making babies. I want you all to think about that too. Still making babies, and still you ain't done what you need to do to get your kids back. Because those children are a year apart. So when the first child's femur was broke, you didn't even have the other child, the baby. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that's interesting though that you say
3
that.
months old. Your child was 3 months old. The first one was 3 months old, allegedly, when that one was taken from you, or he was an infant. So you only had that one that was confiscated by the state. What would possess you to go get another kid in your womb, and you already got one in the state's care? This is why I know she never cared for her children. I'm not getting ready to go get knocked up when I've already got the state on my ass, and I'm trying to get this one back. And then that's not counting the other two that's older that those fathers came and got, and you ain't even fight to get them. You ain't fight to get none of your kids. That shit is just sickening to me. I can see a person saying, I can't raise this one kid for whatever reason. But why would you then go out and still keep getting pregnant? Then you give that baby up. Because I knew somebody who did that. Kept having babies and giving them up for adoption. Every time she got pregnant, she'd give the babies up. That doesn't even look right. To just keep giving up every fucking kid. And then the last kid she had, she kept that one. So you had at least 3 or 4 that you done gave to the state. And then on this last baby, oh, now she wants to keep that kid. Why? We don't know. Because many of us were stunned that she didn't give that one up. And it's like, how many babies are you going to keep giving to the state? Why? For what reason? So basically, you like to screw and don't use contraceptives. That's my take on it.
Yeah, that's disgusting. So were Orrin and Orson, when they were they ever in the same household together with the mother?
They couldn't have been in the mother. Brittany, I just told you they're a year apart.
So that's interesting that they even really got put together in foster care.
Exactly. That's why I tell people you have to pay attention to the information.
Because, with them being taken at separate times, and, it wasn't like
one wasn't even born.
They didn't even know each other as brother. And you know what I mean?
They didn't know nothing. That's like when she said that comment about, oh, I noticed when I went to see the kids, she had to make sure to say when I visited them, they weren't happy. Well, listen at what you're saying. When you visited them. Yeah, in other people's houses. You didn't even get to bond with your fucking kids. How can you build a bond just visiting? It's not like your mom and daddy got your kids and you can stop by every afternoon, every evening, take time to spend with them, take them to the park, then drop the kids back off. You didn't have that type of visitation because you already know the state visitation is not going to be like personal visitation with your family. So then you have to ask yourself, how many times was she even allowed to visit the children when they were in foster care? And what fool would risk getting their second child taken when they knew the first child was taken? So allegedly she only had the second child for a week. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Wow.
One for 3 months and one for a week.
Well, that's interesting. That may not that, that okays her not getting them back, but she could tell she must have created no bond, even with it in the wound, that she cared enough.
Mm-hmm. ACY says that's the way I took the indictment, that a minor child had assisted in the demise on behest of the parents. Well, that's how I think we all took it.
Assisted in. See, and when you say it that way.
But that's the way it was worded in the damn thing.
Assisted and demise. That,
you know, they're going to use appropriate words. They're not going to use street terms.
Aided in. I don't know.
Something is off.
So if we're understanding that correctly, I would assume that the state and the foster care have this child in some sort of serious canceling, something.
We hope.
Right?
We hope. Because let me tell you something. If that boy or the mother children help kill them babies, I'm telling you, man, it's only a matter of time. If they don't get any help, they will be doomed. This will be a repeat when they're grown.
It's sad.
And imagine walking around knowing you helped kill a kid, and you are a kid.
Yeah, he would need some sort of serious canceling, even regardless of whether, he did or didn't, or even the other kids. They need, even being on, testifying in the courtroom as for those kids, that had to be traumatic for them. Very traumatic. You would think, but I don't know. Sad situation.
Lord have mercy. So do you think they will retry the case pertaining to the other baby?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Let it rest.
I wonder if, I don't know how quickly that decision has to come in, as far as if there's a certain time frame that they have to decide whether they
can file papers. It's over. They can file now.
Well, what I was wondering is if possibly in the sentencing for this trial, I could definitely see them retrying it if after they sentence them for this, that they don't get life. I think they would definitely, retry it. And then if, anything's ever discovered, possibly their bodies are ever found, I think it would definitely be retried.
Mm-hmm.
But if I think that possibly no, if they go ahead and give them life, in a few months when they're sentenced, then they may not.
Let's see.
Yeah.
People got comments.
But where I hate that we didn't get to hear the whole court, all the, everything that was done in court.
Everybody, yeah.
I would love to know about the information as far as cell phone records, their Google Maps, any places that they went. I did hear a little bit of someone, repeating what was done in court, and it didn't sound like, they went anywhere crazy or anything like that. But, did they get new phone? Where are they? Where are they? Is my thing. Where are these kids? I don't know.
Well, that's an interesting question. Krista Davila said this 7 hours ago. Legally, they kill their own kids. This was in response to Bonnie Anderson's comment that they kill somebody else's kids and their own biological kids' testimony, put them behind bars. That is the best karma if I ever seen it. God is a just God. And then Krista responds basically saying legally they killed their own kids. They were legally there since the adoption was final. That makes it worse. I think the one son helped, exclamation point. No one asked that boy? Did you hurt those babies or did you help kill them? I say this because that oldest son was way too cold. You hear it in his voice. He had no emotion, no care. Sad. Thank you, Krista, for that comment on my channel, because that is why I did this video today, because of your comment. There was no mention of him assisting in the death or discardment of the child or children, as we assumed in the affidavit. So why was that not mentioned during this trial, that this child or other children assisted in the death?
Mm-hmm.
Why was it not mentioned? Why did they not even ask? Well, did you help? Did you see where they took the body? Did you see what they did with the little boy afterwards? Before you moved to Cal City? That is interesting. Why not?
Even the prosecution understand that they're not going to charge, they can't be charged with anything, but you would think the prosecution still would have, on their end, been able to ask some of those questions. Yeah.
Exactly, because if you think that he did anything from his own testimony in the original report of him talking to the police, that's solid evidence, because you're already using him anyway to speak, because that's what got the conviction. So why not say he helped kill the kid, beat the kid, hide the kid, clean up, threw away, whatever he did, if indeed he did anything.
I don't know. So that's interesting. But I mean, I didn't get to hear everything they said, but I would have think that would have been on the news.
Well, at the news, any news report by law, crime, court, they would have gladly revealed any of that they were asked. The children were asked that they help. Did they see where the children went? Did they see any of the children look sickly or deceased? I know they would have asked that. That would have been in anybody's news broadcast. So I want to know why not. If I said I see a dead kid, I think I'd be asking, well, how do you know he was dead? Or what happened when you saw him dead? Did you see your parents take him out? Did you help in any way? Why not ask?
He went back to his classwork, he said.
So what?
He said he went back to his classwork after that.
Oh, so it was morning time.
I guess so, yeah. I don't know necessarily time, but I remember from what I did hear, he said.
So he saw them in the morning dead when he woke up, I guess. And then he went and told his parents, hey, he looks dead in there.
Well, see, I don't know, because, he also uses, this is the term from the child, is his color was fading, which I find that to be an interesting terms of words for a child to use, because he was, 8 at the time? 7 or 8?
10.
And he's 10 now, right?
No, he's 12 now.
Oh, he's 12 now. Okay, I'm sorry. So he would have been, 9 or 10. But to say their color was fading would mean to me that he wasn't passed yet.
Well, see, that's why I'm saying sometimes we use EDING in not the right context, because you got to remember that's still a child talking. So what I'm wondering is, was the child alive at the time he saw him in the bed? But if he was cold, 9 times out of 10, he probably wasn't. Because I would have asked him, he was cold, was he hard, stiff, or felt normal to you? You have to ask. But we already know what it means when you're cold to the touch.
Right.
More than likely, you're not alive. So he probably had already died in his sleep. More than likely, he died in his sleep. If we're to believe that's how he actually died. See, we don't know.
Yeah, possibly.
And that's another thing. We don't really know how any of the children died. Because as I said, I'm not here to say that the little boy lied, but if we're to believe what was in the affidavit, there are some discrepancies in the testimony given in court.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I said that in the beginning. I'm not here to say that the little boy lied, but now I have to think back. Wait a minute. They never mentioned anything about him or any of the other children assisting in the death of the children. Then whatever was told in court is not really the whole truth. I don't know.
And I guess the only evidence they used to confirm that the boys were dead is the oldest son's testimony that he was cold to the touch. I mean, other than that, they had nothing else.
They have nothing else. And don't you find that interesting?
I mean,
of all
yeah,
the
it is very
crimes that are committed in
interesting.
the world, that's all you have is the testimony of a child. Which we already said we're not going to say he's lying, because who's going to lie about that and make that up?
Yeah, and that's why, I know it's very unfortunate that they weren't found guilty on the second charge of death.
Yeah, because it doesn't really make sense to not convict them.
It doesn't.
If all you got is the testimony of the boy, how are you going to say it doesn't make any sense?
And I agree, but I think that we're almost lucky to get what we got, because they had nothing other than, that's all they had. I mean, the kids being missing does not mean they killed them. I mean, that doesn't.
Yeah.
So
we know that just because of evidentiary.
Right. So I'm saying if you strictly go by, how you were truly supposed to convict somebody, I do feel
that's what they did, and that's what they did. Basically, they stuck to the law on the other child that they didn't convict them on.
Right, but and it's interesting that that was the only concrete evidence, if you want to call it that, the 10-year-old testimony, or 12-year-old, whatever he is now.
Captain, we don't believe the children are alive, sweetheart. No, those children aren't alive. It's obvious.
So
only a fool would have children that are missing, and then Amber Alerts out. You're gonna then have to explain to law enforcement, FBI, why you have access to a child when there was an Amber Alert or a report of them missing. You'd be a fool. And it's not to say that people don't still hoard children, keep them hidden. I wouldn't personally. Whether I bought the child, bartered to get the child. You understand what I'm saying? I would not have the child. I would go turn myself in with the child, because I'm not going to get charged with no kidnapping charge. Because if you bought the kids from somebody, you got to explain what the hell you're doing with them.
So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, years down the road, they did turn up. Would they just have a hearing and release them?
They would talk to the people who had the children and ask how did you acquire the children? And then that's when they'll decide what they would do with Jacqueline Giselle. Because if they sold them, they still would be charged with, depending on what the state law is for selling children would be, and then maybe be time served depending on the actual law pertaining to selling the children, because that's still human trafficking. So I don't know. Hello, Evie. That's why I said, if you have the children right now, you're a fool. Turn them over. But I don't believe that nobody has them because of the testimony of the child being cold. The fact that you don't have people for the children. People have told you they ain't seen the damn kids. I don't think they're sold. I don't think they're alive.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because if you got them, what kind of life are they going to have? You're going to have to keep them hidden. And as I said, it's not to say that children aren't hidden, that are kidnapped, or they went underground with their parents or biological family members. But in this case, I don't think the children are alive. Just from the behavior of the parents, how they behave afterwards, never looking for the children, searching for them. They never did any more news broadcasts, nothing. No photos of them in their devices. That's, to me, orchestrated. And I would think the way they behave, that it would have also been premeditated murder, not no accident. But you don't have no proof.
Now, I would say that premeditated on the second child for sure.
Yes, most definitely. Which makes no sense, because it's more suspicious for two to be missing than one. So why would you kill the second one? That's the one thing I don't understand about these goofballs. Why in the hell would you kill the second child if indeed the first child was an accident? You don't think somebody's going to think that's suspicious? Two biological brothers, 1 year apart, are missing. Come on now.
Because I really do believe that
I think they were just tired of the children, man. They didn't want. They realized they were more to handle. Perhaps the children's behavior became worse after adoption, and they were tired of dealing with them. And that's a terrible thing to say, but they were tired of them. That's why Jacqueline couldn't even lie when asked about her behavior and her feelings toward them. She told on herself. Yeah,
they definitely didn't do themselves any favors. That is for sure.
But that's the point. A lot of people can't hide their feelings. And only a fool would tell the truth knowing the children are missing. And you've been charged with murder. I found
it interesting, she made her statement saying that, they kept the boys separate from the other children, but then, you hear the boys testify and say that they slept in, the boys didn't even sleep in a room together. They had the boys all split up, 3 in one room and 3 in the others, and the brothers weren't together. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting.
Because they would feed off of each other. And they knew exactly what they were doing. I tell people, you have to listen to what people say. That's how you get to the understanding of what happened. Even though we don't have exact, notations of what happened, but they're telling you, they're spinning you the story if you listen to what they're saying. I split them up because they're a problem.
Hang on. Okay, so you always understood that to mean they split the 2 brothers up. See, when I heard them say that, I thought that she meant they kept the 2 boys separate from the rest. That's how I always interpreted what she said.
It could be either or. It could be they kept the 2 children together from the other children, or they kept one with this group and then one with the other. But you can see there's hatred for them. I would probably see them keeping them both together and separate from the rest of the children.
What? Yeah, but now that we say it that way, I think it may have been like when she said she kept them separate. Mm-hmm. From hearing what the kids said about, it sounds like she kept the boys separate from each other.
They probably did. Because what did I just say? That's the reason for killing the other one. They were a duo team. They've been together in foster care up until death. So they're going to feed off of each other. One cry, the other one cries. One shows out, the other one shows out. Kind of like twins. They're going to feed off each other.
That's crazy because I honestly never interpreted it that way until now. When she said that, I assumed that and that's just, that tells you everybody has everybody takes things differently. But I really always felt that she meant that she kept the boys separate. But now thinking back, it looks like it was the opposite.
So what are you trying to say? That she kept the 2 toddlers together or apart?
Apart.
She could have. It's hate there regardless.
How do you
whether 2's in the closet, 2's in a corner, 1 in a corner, 1 over here? It's all the same. They didn't like the children.
Either way, yeah, I mean, either way, it's wrong.
Yeah. The 2 are missing. And then you hear a child talking about her putting the kids in chokehold. You know that sealed it up for the jury. Oh, yeah, she abused the kids. Because why is this child coming in? He ain't going to lie either. Why he going to lie about you holding children down that way? So now imagine, as I said, trying to put your arm around a toddler. His legs are short. So you literally would have to be bending his legs and pinning them under your legs. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Because you think about the size of a woman who is at least 5 feet, 5'3", 5'2". She's short herself, but she's still bigger than a 3 or 4-year-old.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
You would be sitting in my lap with my hand, my arm, elbow around your throat. Your legs would have to literally be bent for me to have my legs sitting on top. Oh my God. Ugh.
Yeah, your legs would have to be bent. It would almost be like as if she squeezed them with her knees. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like you're going to be bending their legs because their legs are little.
Either way, it's sick. It is. I don't understand how you could do. But then it was interesting to say that, I mean, you don't know what that kid was living in then.
Your then-in-law said the baby boys were also kept apart from each other. Yeah, I can see that. Because they were not biracial, could not stand that. Well, but they took them in, so that makes no sense. How are you going to hate on brown babies when you took the brown babies in? You could send them back at any time. That's what's so stupid about this story with these fucking people.
So if
at
they would
any
have
point
sent them back,
after getting the kids, once they walk in the door, you don't like brown babies, even though your ass is brown, send them back. What you going to adopt them for?
yeah, because that would have been the perfect time to send them back. Because I believe if they would try to
I
give them
like
back,
biracial kids. I like light-skinned children. Send them back.
a child's a child.
All you have to do is just say the child was acting out. Both are acting out. We can't control them. Please come pick them up. End of story. Well, that's right. For the money. That's the whole point of the story. At some point, they got tired of the kids. Money, no money. I'm sick of them. I want them out of here.
Once they adopted them, if they gave them back, I believe then at that point, they would have to pay child support on them.
Well, I would have to pay child support, yes, because I now legally own them. Good point. Yes. I forgot about that. Yes. Now that I've adopted them. Yes. So I kept thinking, okay, because I never thought about that. They legally own the children. So yes, they would have to pay child support. And yes, you don't get no more money. But you're not getting any money for them now because your ass is in jail. So how about that? So what's the even swap? You chose to die in prison versus just sending the damn kids back. Because now I have to say to myself, the children didn't start acting out until what? After adoption?
No, I don't believe that.
They tolerate it. There's a difference.
Yep. And they were getting all this money in, and I'm sure they got paid more to keep the brothers, adopting children that were brothers, to keep them together.
Yella then says, like what Leilani did to avoid paying child support. Yes. Orchestrated. That's why I always tell people you have to pay attention to the information. Once they got in court and start testifying, you can basically put the story together even without knowing the manner of death.
I wonder if her mom...
We had already assessed this anyway when the both boys went missing. We just used deduction. Somebody was inquiring about the kids. The kids were a problem for them, and they just knocked the damn kids off. Point blank. Just knock the kids off. People kill people every day. I mean, they do. And the reasoning makes no sense. It's not supposed to make any sense.
I wonder if Jacqueline's mom is still a foster parent.
I don't know.
I think they had said she moved out of the state. Sounds like a lot of people moved out of state.
Well, yeah, they're all moving to Tennessee, if y'all didn't know that. Everybody from California is moving to East Tennessee, West Tennessee, Nashville area. Arizona. People from the Pacific Northwest are migrating to Tennessee. That's why our rent now is sky high. This is a diabolical story. It's no different than any of the other stories you hear, where a lot of the other stories you get more evidence in the stories, but it's all sickening. These creeps have these babies and they mistreat them, and then the state get involved, and then they don't get the children back, and then sadly the children go live with another ruthless ass, MF, and it's just a repeat. Just like the black lady that adopted the white children, they were brother and sister, and she beat the little white girl. And that black woman needs her tail beat. And she was the one that did a reality TV show, cooking show. She was a school teacher. And now she's convicted of murder and a child. It's sickening.
It's crazy.
It's depressing. All of this is depressing. Very depressing. And sadly, this won't be the last story that you'll hear about a child being abused and neglected by his or her parent and or foster adoptive parent. It's going to continue because we have very ill people. We have very greedy people, money hungry people, demented people who have no business procreating. or fostering and adopting children. It's just the way it is. And it's not going to stop. This won't be the last story that you will hear. You've already heard a news story of a white couple starving their own damn son to death. Or attempted to starve him to death. So it's the same. And I believe they weren't giving them food either. Or the children weren't eating for some reason. That's another thing. You couldn't be feeding them because why would one want the other one's drink? If he has his own drink, why would he want another child's drink? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because you took his drink. Or you didn't give him a drink because he was chewing with his mouth open. So that was your punishment to him. I won't give him anything, perhaps. He probably was thirsty. He's watching everybody else eat and drink. So what would he naturally do? Let me take my brother's drink. That's normal. That's a normal reaction if you're hungry or thirsty. I got to get something in me. By all means necessary. He's a child.
That's so sad. Mm.
Hell yeah, that's sad. I mean, I'm just picturing it in my head. They flying off the handle. Close your mouth when you eat. Okay, you won't listen to me? I'll take your food away, your drink. And he's sitting there watching everybody else eat and drink with no food or drink. Just imagine that he started eating or drinking and he's hungry. And then you take his food and drink away from him. Wow. Thank you, honey. Thank you so much. But that's sickly to me. Because it's just like right now, if you were to start eating and you are famished, you would probably pass out if somebody just came and snatched your burger and french fries out your hand. You'd be ready to fight.
Yeah.
That's what that
I
child
think the boy had said that his testimony was that he was chewing with his mouth open and they blended the food and put it in
but he probably couldn't get anything out.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Because the food is still going to be gritty going through the tiny hole of a bottle. You would have to cut the hole in the bottle for that stuff to pass through.
God.
Because think about when we blend food up to make a smoothie or whatever. We're either drinking it out of a glass with our mouth, not a fucking straw or a hole.
How disgusting.
So if he was able to take the food down, it probably didn't pass through properly.
Right, or he couldn't get it out. That's so sad. It really, I don't know. I can't imagine.
Oh my God.
Mistreating
I just give all the way up at this point. I'm serious. I'm just to the point now I'm done, man. I'm done talking about kids and their trifling ass parents and caretakers. I'm done. I did good to do this live today, only because of the person's comment on my page. It's the only reason why I did this live stream today. But I'm done. I'm sick of this. And then it becomes just macabre to talk about dead kids every day. It's just as macabre talking about dead grown-ups every day. You understand what I'm saying? You keep talking about this. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I feel like you're inviting in the devil. And I'm going to say that. And when I did the live stream with the fellas the other day, one of the young guys said that to me. He said, you brought something back with you when you went over there to that house where he dumped that damn girl.
Well, yeah, and it's hard to let it go too, so it's almost like
and I don't want to be obsessing over dead people because that's not normal either.
Right. It's very dark, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about dead people in every live stream.
And at the end of the day, we're not those type of people. We're never going to understand why they do these things.
Vallow, all that. That's too dark. Trying to, imagine what the children look like and the state of the, the remains. Because when they talk about, Tylee, it takes you past what I'm trying to say. It's surreal. The envisioning And then you have somebody on the witness stand, such as, forensic anthropologist, describing what she got, which was a mass of something. Do you know how crazy that sounds?
Yeah.
This is how I got her. In pieces. Bone.
And then the mother still sitting there.
What the fuck? Oh, parts of her face was burned. One side was burned. I could throw up. So then I had to go over here to Front Street, which is Cal City, and envision how the children died, which I don't want to, where they are, how many people know where they are, how many people know how they died, and why are you foolishly holding the secret for two trash?
Do you believe that these two, as in Jacqueline and Giselle, they only know, or do you think they've told someone?
Thank you. Wait a minute, exactly. But didn't they send back a set of older kids they didn't want? AC, why they sent an older boy allegedly? You're going to send back those older ones because they can fight your ass back. And she knew she ain't got to wrestle with no 13 and 15-year-olds. Because they probably whoop her to sleep. She knew what she was doing. They knew to send them back. Because those are the kids that can turn on you in your sleep and beat you to death.
And they probably
they gotta have kids. They got to have kids they can control, which are 3 and 4.
They probably receive less money for the older child as well.
Well, it shouldn't matter about the money. The money should be the same. But, you understand what I mean? The money is the same. Yeah, I don't think they stipulate by age by the state. They just give you an allotment for the child. But I'm saying sending an older child back would be sensible, logical, because you can't control older children. They're sassier. They talk back. They can walk out the door. 3-year-old can't walk out the door because you would have control over a 3-year-old. 3-year-old tries to hit you back. You could restrain a 3-year-old. You aren't going to probably do that with a 13-year-old that's got more muscle mass.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they knew that. So before they ended up dead like these kids, where they got to choke them out in their damn sleep, let's go ahead and get rid of them, send them back. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's sad to know that they did send that boy back and they didn't do this to those boys.
I'm wondering the black lady or Hispanic lady, whoever it was last year that came back saying they had kids that stayed with them, and now the kids, they don't have no contact and don't know nothing about them, which naturally with the state, you're not going to have contact with once you lose your rights. So I wonder if those children are alive, and where are they? The lady that had brought forth the allegation that her children live with them and she don't have no more contact with her kids.
Now, those weren't the two that had been adopted by them, was it?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Because that's the whole point. Once you lose your rights, you're not going to know anything. So the kids could actually be alive. The state don't have to tell you where the children are. Once your rights are severed, that's it. So I don't know if this lady's just wanting to, get 5 minutes of fame and attention. But it's all baffling. All of this is just so sad and pathetic to be a child of God and just be born to just horrific circumstances and then get passed along like a damn frisbee to one, broke up situation to the other. And that's usually what happens with a lot of children. And a lot of people don't know what that's like if they've never experienced foster care. It's a terrible place to be.
Oh, I can't imagine. Yeah.
It's going house to house, house to house, house to house. Because the one thing a lot of people don't understand about babies, children, is that most people want babies. They want babies because of what I just said. They can control them. They can form them. Conform them. They don't want children that already have an identity. 8 years old, you have an identity already. I don't want an 8-year-old. I want somebody that I can teach to do this, to do that. You get an 8-year-old and say, well, we're having chicken and peas. I don't like peas. Well, I want it. See where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
I want a baby. want a baby. He can't talk. She can't talk. Can't talk back. I can mold them, shape them. It's not to say they're not going to turn on me one day or act out. It's just human nature.
All kids act out, yeah.
I want a baby. That's why children stay in foster care till damn near 18. Because nobody wants a 8 or 9-year-old, 10-year-old. I don't want a 15-year-old kid. And it's not to say that these kids couldn't act right, but imagine your mindset at 15, 13, or any age under, 10, 11, whatever, and you're going from house to house, house to house. You're dealing with different people, different ways. You don't have an identity as far as a normal kid because you're all over the place.
Yeah, you probably distrust everyone because everyone's.
And then there's criticism.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do this. Why won't you do this? Put your hair up. Do this. We don't wear makeup. Blah, blah, blah. You got to go to church. You got to pray. Get on your knees. Go in the corner. It's always something. Then that don't work out. Boom. You're back in foster care. You're back in a halfway house. Not a halfway house, but whatever. They put you in. Then, somebody else will say they'll take you in. Then you go over to this place and you might be sleeping on the sofa. You might not have your own room. You can't adjust moving around all the time. It's the same thing with being an adult and you don't have your own place. You're going to get tired of sleeping on somebody's sofa. Then they're complaining that you ain't taking a bath. You didn't clean the tub. You ate up all the Doritos. See where I'm going? It's always something. Who wants to live like that? That's why those kids can't wait to get grown.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to have nobody telling them what to do. Nobody's criticizing them. Nobody's, disrespecting them. Putting their hands on them, assaulting them. And then the sad part is they go right out here in the world and get in jacked up situations because they don't have no formal training because everywhere they go, there's a different version of who they're supposed to be, different rules.
Yeah, that's sad.
It's just makes me sick.
They're definitely sick individuals. That is for sure. For sure.
Well, what's next?
I don't know.
Huh?
I said, I don't know.
Well, the sentencing is next month. What do you think they'll get? Let me see if anybody's got a projection.
I say they get life.
Huh?
I think they'll get life. In a lot of the sentencing hearings that I've watched, I always hear the judge, refer to whether they had any remorse during the trial. And I think a lot of that kind of stuff is considered, and from what I have heard in any of the interrogation recordings that they played, of course, we couldn't see them in the courtrooms, but I didn't hear a lot of reporting on, Jacqueline was crying or Giselle was crying. I don't think they've showed any remorse for anything. And, let's say they, because they don't want to show remorse because they didn't kill these kids. Either way, they're gone. So you would have emotion. So the fact that they're gone, even though you want to sit there and say you didn't kill them, it would still be an emotional situation because the children aren't there.
Yeah. You know what I think it's funny when they play back the original interview and she says, we're going through it. Yeah, you were going through it. All right.
We've been going through it. Yep. And that's how it played out.
We're going through it.
But it's not funny, but to go back and listen to the recording, it's so interesting now because I feel like you just catch little things, just like his deep breath that he takes before he starts.
I gotta think about what I'm going to say.
Yeah, okay, because this is the story that I played in my head. Okay, here goes. Yep. Okay, here goes, and he just lets it roll, and it's
so overly stated. I looked at them. Remember, he says that when he goes back in with the firewood, and I saw them there. Is what he said. You saw them there. I guess you would see them there if they were actually there, but they weren't. Because you made that
And
up.
I saw them there again. I went inside and I came back out and they were gone. I went back out and I asked my wife, "Where are the boys?" And she says, "They're outside playing with chalk." I mean, she was wrapping presents. I mean, it would just, it's
Overly
bullshit.
done
You
in
know,
just a way that you rarely talk. Now, some people are descriptive when they describe things a little more than others, but when people are lying, they have a habit of doing that, such as what he said. I saw them there. Oh, they're outside playing with chalk. I don't need to say they're outside playing with chalk. I would just say, oh, they're outside.
yeah, I mean, because I think of like my husband giving, say he went outside to get wood and he's telling the story back, and I'm inside. He's gonna be like, I don't know what the hell she was doing. She was inside doing something. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just that they had an answer for
Yeah,
every.
but it was descriptive, which is not how a lot of
Mhm.
people talk when they tell a story.
Well, and when you're going through your day and you don't expect anything to happen, you don't necessarily pay it. I mean, a lot of people pay
Tell
attention to a
everything.
lot of
Some people will tell everything that they did. They'll actually just say, "Yeah, I was in the bathroom peeing, and then the phone rang, and then I got up." See what I mean? And but some people may not just tell the whole truth that they actually was peeing, and then the phone answered. They might just say, "Well, I was busy." You understand what I'm saying?
right. And it's not necessarily that they're lying. That's just how they are. Because
Yeah.
but but I feel like that whole week leading
Because they don't
up
even
to
talk
them
that much. I
calling.
don't even think they're two people that actually talk. So they wouldn't even probably talk like that, period. Because I don't think they're both talkers.
Yeah, they don't look to be.
Because I'm
I
telling you,
mean,
when you look at their faces in court, these look like two people who, as they said, was off the grid. They were off the grid even when they were in Bakersfield. I don't think they had a lot of people visiting them. I don't think they went to other people's houses. I don't think they went to functions. I don't think they went to bar mitzvahs and parties. And I don't think they went out on dates with each other and went out on the town. I think they were just two recluses that were holding on to for dear life with each other.
yeah. I mean, clearly they didn't have friends that they hung out with, and I can understand that having 6 kids, you don't really have a lot of time for something, but
Well,
still,
and they stopped
I don't
these
know.
other hood rats from getting in the street, and they got all kind of damn kids.
But I feel like that whole week prior to them calling 911 was a prep. The hanging the stockings, the putting up the Christmas tree. There was a stocking for each boy. There was these
Well,
Santa
they did
hats.
celebrate Christmas anyway, because there's pictures of their own boys where they had Christmas presents without the other adopted kids in their house. They have older photos where they did celebrate Christmas.
No. I don't mean that they didn't celebrate Christmas normally. I just kind of mean like the hanging of stockings for two children that aren't there. The placing a Santa hat at the table.
What older child? So I mean, interrupt you. Ida, who you speaking of? The older child's father name is Ralph Mosley, and he testified that he only sings a child one time. Oh Lord!
Which older child?
Hit the link, Ida.
Please.
Yes, please hit the link. Lord have mercy, I'm dead.
And see, and that's I know I say it all the time. I hate we didn't get to hear everything because I don't know all the people that did
That's why they
testify.
need to stop letting somebody come back and bring us bits and pieces. Let us hear the damn court. Have the fucking camera in the courtroom.
Shit, put out the damn transcript. I'll read it.
At least with Lori Vallow, they played the audio even if we couldn't see their faces.
And that was still hard for me. I wanted to see because I want to see.
Ida Kendrick, hit the link. You do not have to show yourself. We want to hear you what you have to say about this father business. Damn, man.
The oldest one.
These people are just this is what happens when you have hood rat people bearing children, man. I'm telling you, one thing begets another. I don't care what anybody says. I say it every day, just from the people I've encountered in my own life and being around people. They're just problem people. They don't know how to live cohesively like regular people. They're always into stuff. They're always dragging people in drama all the time. They always got kid problems, family problems, legal problems. I mean, it's just always something with them. It's just never a dull damn moment. Never a dull damn moment. It's always some damn issues. It's true. And it's not saying that other people don't have problems in their families and they take up with people with problems, but I don't like problems. I don't like riffraff. I don't want to be wrapped up in no drama. I don't want to be around people with kid problems. If I go to your house and I start seeing crazy stuff going on in your house with your children and your children are wayward and you talking crazy to your children, you cursing your children, I don't even want to be around you. Because I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be a witness to nothing. I don't want to be a party to it. And I always tell people, when you hang around people like this, you are now a party to the madness. So when some shit jump off, you never said anything, first thing people are going to say is, well, you used to go over there all the time. You had to have seen something. Yeah, they did. They didn't say nothing. They didn't say anything. Just like I was listening to Cat Williams the other day. And he was talking about kids crying in the store and the mothers beating the babies. And he said, I'm so sick of you such and such as beating your kids. Maybe there's something wrong with you. Your kid's supposed to want Skittles. You know, that's true. You know what I mean? He said, every time you see these parents, they want to fight their damn kids in the store because they want candy or something. They're supposed to want things. And I remember when my mother had passed away, and I was in Chicago, and I was on the west side of Chicago visiting my father at the time. This is right before I was going to come back home. And I was in a store. Was this for my mother? Wait a minute, let me think back. I think I might be getting it mixed up. Maybe it was when my father passed. I think I'm getting the deaths mixed up. Anyway, I was in the store line. I think it was when my daddy was passed, and I had got stuff for the funeral. And I was in the store line, and I remember a lady was a couple of paces in front of me with a little girl. Man, she called that little girl everything but the child of God. Everybody in the line was turning around, looking at her, looking at each other. And it was just so humiliating, even as a human being, to listen at this female call her girl child the names that she was calling her. And then she was loud with it. And not one time did anybody say anything, or store management employee or anybody come over and say, ma'am, you're going to have to get out of here with that because you're loud, you're disrupting, you know what I mean, the peace of the store. Nobody said nothing. You could hear a pin drop while she was cursing that little girl out.
Yeah, those are the people that really make me wonder what
it made my stomach turn, the names she used. These are names you would use with somebody who's done something really terrible to you. You understand what I'm saying? And I can't remember what the little girl had done, but she was just going off on her. And she was like, that's your effing problem. And and your motherfucker this. And I was just like, oh man, it took everything out of me not to go to jail that day. I wanted to wear her out. I wanted to say, this is what y'all should be doing. All of us, like we were on the damn airplane when them Iraqis was on there trying to take the airplane down. We need to whoop this heifer's ass in this damn line. But she deserved her ass whooping. The way she was talking to that little girl, man.
Yeah, that's really scary, for her to be like that in public. Really makes you wonder.
If you talk to your child like that in public, imagine what she does to her behind closed doors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that little girl probably growing up is probably just as evil and spiteful her damn self. And I hate to say that, but who's to say she don't walk around bitter and angry? And she's probably doing it to somebody else herself, talking crazy and going off and stuff.
Hello.
Hello, Cindy. Where you calling from?
I'm in Iowa.
What do you have to say about the commentary?
Oh, they're guilty. I see them both getting 45 years to life.
Okay, but what do you have to say about what we've been discussing? About the little boy possibly being involved, that the affidavit implied that the children assisted in the deaths of the children.
I don't think they assisted at all. I think that whatever was testified at the grand jury would be nice to have, but I think that they're going to retry.
No, I'm saying in the affidavit, they made it seem like the children were involved in the death. Did you not read the affidavit?
I haven't read it. No.
Okay, well, the way we took it is that possibly the children were coerced to murder the children. Okay? And that was never implied in court. So we're going back in time trying to figure out what is the truth of the children's deaths. And is it possible that this boy who testified knows more than what he actually said in court?
I don't think so.
Why?
Why? Because I think his story to me was consistent. And if you remember when he was on the stand and Jacqueline's attorney kept badgering him, just like she tried to present in her closing statement about how the forensic interviewer was badgering him. But she kept asking him over and over again, do you know what a mistake is? Do you know what a false is and all this? Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me,
So what do you think she was trying to say to him? That he was lying?
Yep. But I think he stood his ground. I mean, that's, even at 12, that's hard to do, to sit in front of that many people.
Well, oh yeah, of course, an audience, and then
but
be
I
asked
think
questions.
his true testimony was when he was 10.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't think he lied, and I think, didn't they interview, or didn't they question the older adopted kid that they had sent back that was like 15 or 16?
16. Well, that was about Jacqueline's abuse, that she was abusive.
Yeah. And I believe she's the one that committed it, and Trezell got rid of them.
Well, that's possibly what happened. But that's the thing. We don't know because we weren't there. But what I'm saying is the conversation between he and the parents, that don't sound right to me. The conversation sounds backwards. It sounds more like they were telling him, you'll be taken away.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because they made it seem like he was saying that the child was giving them directions on what to do and call the police. I don't believe that.
I don't either. I don't think that he had that kind of...
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you can take from that that's not true, then what else is not the truth? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But I still think, bottom line is, by getting the second-degree murder on Orson, the oldest one, that right there is 15 to life right there. So I think that this judge is going to give them the maximum they can get. Unless one of them breaks and says, this is the truth,
Yeah.
And then that opens that door for it to be...
Well, that would be interesting at sentencing to wait and go ahead and then tell the truth. And where the bodies are.
Yeah. I don't think that'll happen.
What'd you say, Brittany?
I don't think those are the truth.
No, I ain't gonna tell you anything because I've come too far already.
Do you think that, Cindy, that they'll be retried on Orrin?
I do. I do. Just because...
Imagine that.
Yeah. But, it's hard to tell in California because the courts and the prisons are so overcrowded.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Why risk it after you already just got a mistrial for them? Oh, Lord.
Right. And you can already give them, like I said, I think it's at least 40, 45 years.
Yeah, let you get some new evidence.
Yeah. But it's
nice to get information on where the children are.
Yeah, but they knew what they were doing. That 3 months, you can't get that time back. So they could be anywhere, They could be chopped up in 100 different places, Sad to say, but
and that's the scary thing. All this time, the kids been gone. Where are they? What did they do with them?
But I can tell you that I have a stepdaughter out in Richmond, California, up by Oakland area. She has 18 children. Okay? She's a crackhead. Almost every one of them babies was left at the hospital, and she ran out after she dropped the baby and hit the streets again, right?
Yeah.
And then my husband, who was out there, her father, the CPS people, now he was on parole. her 3-year-old daughter at the time was running around outside with just a diaper on. And so somebody called him. He went over there and got the baby and went to court. CPS gave that 3-year-old to my husband to raise.
Mm,
And I mean, he had done 18 years. He
mm,
wasn't, I have a daughter with him. My daughter's 24. He wasn't capable of
mhm.
assisting me with anything, you know?
Well, I've seen cases here recently where people who've had criminal backgrounds have gotten custody of their children, because I know somebody personally that has, a criminal background for, selling drugs, and it was older cases, but the daughter needed somewhere to go, so they gave him and his wife his daughter, and that did not work out at all because
I
she
mean,
was wayward and running away and doing all kind of crazy stuff.
I believe that criminals can reform themselves.
Yeah,
I've
if you
seen
want
it,
to.
you know. I've seen it, but I don't think that somebody that's on parole should be given a child because,
Yeah, possibly not, because you need to have your own life together before you get the custody of a child.
right.
Even if you don't have any criminal charges for abuse or neglect or physical assault, you still need to be in a place where you've got your own place. You've been working a long time. You're staying out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? You're doing
Yeah.
what you need to do. At that point, when you're on parole, the only person you could think about at that time is yourself, because you have to take care
You
of
have to, yeah,
yourself.
you have to stay straight. And I tell you, he passed in November, and he called me. We we were still married, right? But I left him 20 years ago and came to Iowa. But he called me because he was on his deathbed. So I go out there, and the little girl is now 9. The family members was all trying to pretty much snatch the girl, right? So I had to convince them to bring the little girl back to the house, let me, keep her for a couple days.
Mm.
We literally had to pack up all her stuff and go to a hotel because they was that side of the family was going to turn her out at 9
Mm.
just for a check. And then I had to convince his only sister that's still alive, who's, you know, close
What did you
to
say? Turn her
60.
out? You mean prostitute her?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They were serious. And the little girl told me, "Yeah, I've been riding with my uncle and his girl. We just hit up, San Francisco all night." I said, "You
How old
hear
was
me?"
she?
She was 9.
Oh, Lord.
She said it's kind of cool because he keep getting money. And I said, "Girl, there ain't nothing cool
But she
about
could
that."
end up gang raped or dead
Yeah, so
and get
his
HIV.
sister, his sister, who's, a devout Jehovah Witness and has a PhD, her husband has a PhD, but, she's in her 60s. I finally told her, "You have no choice. You have to get the little girl. This is bottom line. You the only one."
But see, that's the whole point of what I've been saying about children. There's no guarantee that the people that get them after
Mm-hmm.
they leave their family, it will be a better situation than where they came from.
No. But one of the news stations had put up all these pictures of the little boys when they were in that other lady's foster care.
Hmm.
And you could see the boys were healthy and thriving. But I still
But
believe
you
that.
do know too that you are chunkier years early in your toddler stages too now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Because
definitely. I
as you
know
get
that.
older as toddlers, you run off the baby fat.
Yeah. But they weren't ever given the chance to run off anything. They were trapped. And that's why they cried all the time.
And that's probably what it was. If you're being mistreated, you feel indifferent, you got
Yeah.
somebody teasing you. See, we don't really know how the other children treated them either. They could have been teasing them, poking them, beating up them, putting their hands on them. So it's just a lot unknown
And I
about
don't,
what actually
and,
happened to these children
and we
from
ain't
birth
going to
up
know.
until death.
Yeah. And I don't think we will ever know.
No, because ain't nobody gonna ever admit the truth. Who's gonna admit, yeah, I did this to a kid? Nobody.
Nobody. But they ain't going to last very long in prison. They're going to have to go in protective custody if they want to live. Because they ain't going to last. That's what they do in prison. They kill them kind of people.
Yeah, but let's be truthful. A lot of people have, we say that, but that shit don't usually happen. A lot of people have hurt children in prison, and they have not been hurt in prison.
Mm.
You have child molesters in prison. You have rapists in prison. You have all. We know that they don't really care for them, but we do know that a lot of those people, they're not dead. Susan Smith, she's alive. Nobody's hurt her.
Mm.
She's had all kind of entanglements while being incarcerated, and nobody's put their hands on her. She ain't been beat up, slashed up. You see what I'm saying?
So you're from Tennessee, right?
Yeah, I live here.
Do you know about Joe Baker, Joe T. Baker?
No.
No. No. Well, I can't mention another channel.
Well,
Look
what
it
about
up.
Baker? What about the person? What is
So
what
the
is the
person
problem?
does a podcast every day, and he's doing a double life sentence right now.
Mm.
But he's I think been down 36, 37 years. But he has rehabilitated, you know, has a master's degree, wrote a couple books. And his son too did time, and he's out there too. That's why I
So, I
said.
mean, so what? So what? What's the point of what you're trying to say?
I'm just saying that I think rehabilitation can happen, and that I think the whole criminal system needs to be overhauled, because a life sentence in one state might be 25 years to life.
Yeah, it just depends on. Yeah, it just depends on the judge. Everything depends on the judge.
Yeah, but like in Tennessee, a life sentence is at least 51 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Or 51 years, not 51 years old. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's about what that girl got for killing the white couple. It's about 51 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
In some
She
states,
didn't even kill them. She just didn't go tell what happened to them.
Mm.
And I believe she deserves it every damn year. And
Yep,
she's come up for parole. But I feel like this. You had a chance that you could have saved the one girl, because you may not have witnessed the killing of the boy, because they had him in another place. But the girl was brought back to the house and repeatedly raped. And you watched him put her in a garbage can. You could have called when you saw her in the room being raped, and the police could have came and they could have saved her.
Yeah, exactly. And just like I think the West children could have been saved had 911 been called.
911 to where?
To Bakersfield. I think if they would have called for an ambulance.
Okay, that's not what you're saying, Cindy. Who was going to call 911?
Well, listen. If Giselle or Jacqueline would have called 911 for assistance, it wouldn't be a murder charge.
Well, let me tell you this, sweetheart. You don't really know what happened in Bakersfield.
No,
like I said, I'm not trying to say the little boy lied, because I don't want to say a child lied, but I don't really know what happened there. So I can't say that 911 would have been called, because if you have been abusing a child, which is common sense, you should know that death will be imminent at some point. So we don't know if the child had been starved. Both of the children had been starved. We don't know if the actual stuffing food in a bottle caused the death. We don't know anything. We don't know if anybody had been beating up the child, if the children aided in beating. Well, we don't know anything. And due to the fact that they've been possibly abusing the children, I don't see these people being the type to call 911, and they definitely wouldn't have had their children call 911. They weren't going to call 911. So that's why I asked you that. Who was supposed to be calling? Because they weren't going to call. That's obvious.
Yeah.
Because they've already been mistreating the children any damn way.
Yeah, that's true. But
yeah, so there was who was going to call? You'd have to have a child that just finally said, "I'm sick of these people mistreating these kids. I'm going to go sneak out to the neighbors or somebody and go get help."
I don't think the kids.
That's not the consensus. If indeed we have a child who's in cahoots with his parents, did that ever occur to you?
Yeah, but I think he was coerced into that.
Okay,
that's what we
were trying to explain to you about the affidavit. That's what we perceived was in the affidavit, is that the children were coerced into the death of the kids. So that's why we're wondering why that was never mentioned during trial. If indeed the children did help in the death of the boys. But we never heard that.
No, we didn't. And I don't know why either. That's crazy.
See, that's the thing about this whole story. Like I said, I'm not trying to say the little boy lied, because I feel like what he told about the, seeing the vomit of this, I'm assuming that's the truth, but I still believe there's more to it that wasn't mentioned in the trial. And I don't know if the prosecution deliberately did not ask the little boy certain questions, but that wouldn't make no sense, because if you're putting in the affidavit, he or others help, then you've already claiming that he assisted in their deaths. You just didn't ask him about it during trial.
Right.
And I'd like to know why not. Because to me, that would be evidence too.
Yeah. Well, so in or like this trial, after the verdict's or not the verdict, the sentencing, is that when the jurors can then speak? Because, so many of them come out and speak.
They're already speaking. They speak when they want to speak. They have the right to speak. Once they've been released, they can speak whenever they want.
Oh, I thought they have a gag order until sentencing.
No. Just like with the Lloyd Vallow case, when they read the verdict, he gave the instruction, the judge in Idaho, you can do whatever you want at this point. But if you have any problems with anybody, bothering you, whatever, come back to me and let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, once you've been released from court, your duties is over. Your duties are over.
I've never done jury duty because I just play crazy.
Yeah, because one of the jury members from Lori, he's already talking. He's talking now. Of course, naturally she got life. Of course, or did she get life? Or no? I can't remember. I'm starting to forget stuff. Well, there's one guy. He's talking.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been on the East Idaho News. He's interviewed him. That reporter has interviewed him. I can't remember. Did Lori get her sentence yet? I'm starting to lose count of stuff. I just can't keep up. Once I zone out from stuff, it's just kind of like I'm done. Because I still have a story I want to bring pertaining to her case. I've been putting it off for about 2 weeks, and I need to get it out. I need to get it out. Well, anything you'd like to add? I'm at 2 hours. I'm going to check out of here.
No, I'm about to check out too.
Okay, Catherine said no, not yet. Yeah, because I was thinking to myself, did she get a sentence? So that means he's spoken. Her jury member has spoken out, and she hasn't gotten her sentence. So that's what I said. Once the judge releases you, you are done. You can go talk to the news or write a book.
But I think because the hung jury on those two, I think that I really think he put a gag order until sentencing to see if the state's going to retry them.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and listen to that.
Well, really, I'm sure they'll have something to say. There'll be people coming out and deciding to speak, but I don't think it would be to their best advantage to speak, due to the fact that on the last counts the other counts they didn't convict, because that's going to open Pandora's box. If you start running your mouth, people are going to ask you, well, why didn't you do this? You know the children are missing. You also know that both of them were biological brothers. You also heard the testimony of how the children were treated. So you could use deduction that they're not around.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think they will be ready for that in an interview.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, so if they have any sense, they won't go write no book and speak to the news, because the news is going to ask you that. Why didn't you convict on that? And then you're going to have to now tell if you were one of the jurors that said no.
Well, I get the feeling a couple of YouTubers are going to try to produce a little mini movie or write a book themselves.
Write a book about what? They weren't involved. So what you going to write a book about?
About the trial.
But you weren't in the trial. They weren't in the trial.
I thought they had some people in there. Some of the YouTubers were in there.
In the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. But
I guess we'll see.
The only people I can see writing a book is somebody who actually has information pertaining to the children and a jury member.
Mm.
That's the only person I can see writing a book. You just watching and hearing, he said, she said, what
Yeah,
that would make no sense. That's what your YouTube channel is for.
Yeah, because that's just your opinion.
Yeah, that's just your opinion. But the only people that can write a book would be the people who are actually in the storyline, and that would be the children, the parents, if they decided to meet with somebody and tell the truth. That's it.
So are they gonna? Do you think they're gonna tell the children, "Hey, mom and dad are never coming home, or you'll be an adult"?
Well, I think the children are smart enough to know they're never going back with them, and they have sense enough to know social media and everything that they are convicted. They're not coming out of there probably. And the children will be way older by the time they would get any type of release from prison. If released. And it's sad all the way around because now these children are living the life that these children ventured into, the ones that are missing, and the other, adoptive children.
Is he gonna strike out when he's, a teenager? Or...
See, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because he has their blood, he and his other brother.
Yeah.
They are products of these two, and these are two killers. So I told people we should be very leery and pray that they don't end up like them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is scary.
Because that was our understanding, is that the children were involved in the deaths. So we were very leery of how these children were going to navigate through life and in foster care.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So sad.
Catherine says, I think that someone in the inside of the prison will be told where the boys are at. I think that if some prisoners get a hold of the West, then they are going to crack and tell. Well, Catherine, I don't know. I don't know about that. Because as I said, many child killers go to prison every day, and they do not get beat up or slashed up or killed. They might get a little roughed up by one or two inmates or so, but eventually, that's putting more time on the inmates, even though some won't care if they got a life sentence themselves. But a lot of them navigate through prison life just like all the other prisoners who are in there for, various crimes. But as I said, that's just a myth that all, child molesters and sexual assaulters get beat up and have to be put in protective custody. Most of the people, they want to be in protective custody because they've heard what happens to, child killers, child molesters. But in the end, they'll probably put them all in a secured area with people like them, so they don't get hurt. You understand what I'm saying? I think they put, like child molesters together in a certain pod in the prison, so they don't end up mixing with the other killers and assaulters and prisoners.
Well, they do that with gangs, right? You can't have.
Yeah. They'll ask you that. They ask you all that when you go into jail. Are you affiliated? That way they won't have to have any problems.
Yeah. And if you're too seriously, then you got to go to, a level 4.
So that's why I said they'll probably have a place for them specifically for their kind, which is baby killers, baby assaulters. And then naturally, the other people are mixed in. Unless you're high profile, like a famous person, they'll put you somewhere probably separate by yourself, open population.
Jeffrey Dahmer, remember they tried to put him in PC and he didn't, or they ended up putting him out there in the general population.
Yeah, well, and you see what happened.
Yeah, and they got him.
An angel of death killed Satan.
Yeah.
He thought he was, working for God. So The black man that killed him. So
Yep.
very interesting. All right, Miss Cindy, I'm checking out of here.
All right. Have a good
All right,
night.
honey. Thank you for joining me.
Yep. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Brittany, for joining me. That was our question for the hour. Someone had commented under the video I made yesterday after the verdict pertaining to one of the children aiding in the deaths of the children. So I posed that question. Did the state leave out the fact that one of the children, or this older child, had testified his involvement in the deaths of the children? Did he tell the whole truth in testifying to what actually happened in Bakersfield and Cow City? Did he aid in the deaths of the children? The discardment of the children? Did he actually see a child cold to the touch? But there was more to what he saw. It's not to say he didn't see a cold child, touch the child that was cold, I'm saying, fading color. But could it be it was more to it? He actually saw his parents beat the kids, this and that, but didn't say that, didn't tell that. I don't know. But in the end, his testimony is what got the guilty verdicts in this case. Will the state retry the case on the charges that were a mistrial? Or will they just leave it as it is? Will the two tell on the other one, ask to get a lighter sentence? Did they tell somebody else how they murdered the children and what happened to the children? Who all knows the truth? His parents, his brothers, her mom, her family? Will they be in jail and do a little jailhouse snitching, dry snitching, or just tell it? And somebody comes back and tell us, oh yeah, they told this, this, and this. What's the truth and what will be the truth? And will the children ever be found and have a proper burial? There was reward money. But if you have knowledge of the children, had knowledge, naturally, that money won't be given to you because you already knew about the deaths. And that would have to be something considered too. Do I give this money to somebody who knew that the children were dead a long time? And then they wait a while and come forward to say, oh yeah, I know where the children can be found. That would be even more heinous. It's a very diabolical story. And as I said before, there will be more because we have a lot of vicious, tainted, miserable, demon-fied people out here who have no business breeding children, taking care of children, fostering children, adopting children, assisting to care for children. So to stop this saga from happening, people need to stop procreating. You know you don't want to be a parent, then use birth control or don't have sex at all. Simple as that. It's not rocket science. You know you really don't want to take care of somebody else's child. Don't foster them. Don't adopt them. You only want to do it for the money, the checks. You know that's wrong. Find you another hustle. Save a life and save your own. And save the lives of your own children in case they get removed from your care because you've abused and or murdered somebody else's child. I want to thank you for following this great network, this content. Please check my library for said uploads and videos. Check my community posts for polls and breaking information, breaking news, updates to stories. I have a few more child stories to cover when those trials commence. And then I will opt out of talking about deceased children, abused children, missing children. I no longer want to talk about missing children. There's too many other things I can talk about pertaining to breaking news here in the United States and abroad. And I do not want my focus to be on talking about dead children or really dead people in general. Because as I said, I have a bad feeling about talking about deceased people all the time. I feel like you can invite the omen in your peripheral, in your personal space when you talk about death all the time. And it's just really not a subject I want to indulge in on a daily basis. But I thank you for following the content and your suggestions of the said stories. But I no longer want any suggestions pertaining to child stories. Thank you very much. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BigAngie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Please stay safe. The next live streams will be pertaining to the niece of Lori Vallow, should she be brought up on charges as an accessory. I'd also like to talk to you about parents getting surgeries for their children to become the opposite sex. And what happens to a man who finds out he's been taking care of a child that is no longer his? Should the state and the mother pay him back the money that he gave up for child support? Those will be my next 3 subjects in the near future. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below the video and on the community page. You have been listening to The Vault XL. Thank you.